In the heart of Africa lies Rwanda, a nation once scarred by unimaginable tragedy. From the ashes of genocide, Rwanda has become a symbol of resilience and hope. Kigali, once a city of violence, now thrives as a hub of innovation and safety, reflecting the country's remarkable transformation. Across the land, new schools, hospitals, and infrastructure signal a nation rebuilding with unity and purpose. Yet, the scars of the 1994 genocide remain, shaping Rwanda's journey toward healing and progress. To understand Rwanda's rise, we must look back at the forces that tore it apart, and the courage it took to rebuild. Before colonization, Rwanda was a unified kingdom ruled by the Mwami, where identity was shaped by clan and community, not rigid ethnicity. Hutu, Tutsi, and TWA lived together, intermarried, and shared a common language and allegiance to the king. Social categories were fluid. Wealth and occupation, not race, defined status. Clans cut across these groups, fostering shared identity and mutual dependence. Systems like Ubuhake, a patron-client relationship, further integrated society. People identified first with family and clan, then region and kingdom. The idea of deep biological difference between Hutu and Tutsi was foreign, introduced later by outsiders. This complex, interconnected society laid the foundation for Rwanda's unity. But this harmony would soon be shattered by colonial intervention. European colonization marked a turning point as Germany and then Belgium imposed new order on Rwanda. The Belgians, influenced by racist theories, redefined Hutu, Tutsi, and TWA as fixed racial groups, not fluid social categories. Tutsi were favored, given authority, and a rigid hierarchy replaced traditional structures. The introduction of ethnic identity cards in 1933 locked Rwandans into permanent categories, fueling resentment and division. The Belgians' policies shattered social cohesion, replacing mutual dependence with oppression. Hutu were marginalized, Tutsi power became precarious, and the seeds of conflict were sown. Colonial rule didn't just govern Rwanda, it redefined what it meant to be Rwandan. The consequences of this social engineering would haunt the nation for generations. A society once united was now primed for conflict. As independence approached in the 1950s, Belgian support shifted from Tutsi elites to the Hutu majority, stoking ethnic tensions that had been simmering for decades. The colonial administration's policies, which had long favored the Tutsi minority, now fueled resentment and suspicion among the Hutu population, deepening the divide between the two groups. Hutu power ideology emerged, recasting Tutsi as oppressors and outsiders. Political rhetoric and propaganda painted the Tutsi as a threat to Hutu freedom, further inflaming public sentiment and laying the groundwork for future violence. The 1959 social revolution unleashed violence against Tutsi. Thousands killed, many more forced into exile. Entire communities were uprooted, and the trauma of these events would echo for generations. Independence in 1962 brought a Hutu-led government, but not peace. The promise of self-rule was quickly overshadowed by ongoing conflict and instability. Discrimination against Tutsi became state policy, periodic massacres and waves of refugees followed. The government's actions institutionalized ethnic divisions, making reconciliation nearly impossible. The cycle of violence and repression persisted for decades, with Tutsi treated as second-class citizens. Opportunities for education, employment, and political participation were severely limited. In 1973, Juvenal Habyarimana seized power, maintaining stability but deepening ethnic divisions. His regime promised order, but it came at the cost of further marginalizing the Tutsi. Tutsi exiles formed the Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, determined to return home. Their longing for justice and a place in their homeland fueled a growing resistance movement. Tensions escalated, setting the stage for a catastrophic confrontation. The country teetered on the edge, with both sides preparing for conflict. The legacy of colonial division and decades of violence left Rwanda on the brink. The scars of the past were visible everywhere, haunting the nation's future. The world watched as the situation grew ever more volatile. International observers and journalists reported on the rising tensions, but intervention was slow and uncertain. The final tragedy was about to unfold, as Rwanda stood on the precipice of one of the darkest chapters in its history. On April 6, 1994, President Habyarimana's plane was shot down, triggering a meticulously planned genocide. Hutu extremists blamed the RPF and unleashed a campaign of extermination against the Tutsi. Roadblocks, militias, and state propaganda turned neighbors into killers. In just 100 days, up to 1 million people, mostly Tutsi but also moderate Hutu, were murdered. Churches and schools became sites of massacre. The world watched but failed to intervene. The UN's peacekeeping force was powerless, and most peacekeepers were withdrawn. International inaction remains a stain on humanity's conscience. The genocide ended only when the RPF, led by Paul Kagame, captured Kigali in July 1994. The killing stopped, but Rwanda was left utterly devastated. The survivors faced the daunting task of rebuilding from ruin. After the genocide, Rwanda was left in ruins, its people deeply traumatized, its social fabric torn apart, and its institutions in shambles. Families were separated, communities shattered, and trust between neighbors was lost. The scale of devastation was almost unimaginable, and the path to recovery seemed daunting. The new government's first and most urgent challenge was restoring security and seeking justice for the unimaginable crimes that had taken place. Rebuilding a sense of safety was essential for any hope of moving forward. With the formal courts overwhelmed by the sheer number of cases, Rwanda revived Gakaka, a traditional community justice system, to try genocide suspects. These grassroots courts brought justice closer to the people, involving entire communities in the process. Gakaka courts aim for truth, accountability, and reconciliation. They encourage confessions, public testimony, and forgiveness, helping survivors and perpetrators face each other and begin the long process of healing. Over 1.9 million cases were tried through Gakaka, helping communities confront the horrors of the past together and fostering a sense of collective responsibility. The government abolished ethnic identity cards and promoted a unified national identity, Ndi Umunyarwanda, meaning I am Rwandan. This powerful message encouraged citizens to see themselves as one people, united by a shared future. Reconciliation programs and memorials were established across the country to honor victims, preserve memory, and educate future generations about the dangers of hatred and division. Building trust remains a challenge, but Rwanda's commitment to unity and healing is unwavering. Through dialogue, education, and community initiatives, Rwandans continue to rebuild relationships and strengthen their society. Justice, remembrance, and reconciliation became the pillars of Rwanda's remarkable recovery, guiding the nation toward a more hopeful future. The nation began to heal, determined to never repeat its darkest chapter, and to build a society where every Rwandan could belong. Rwanda's new beginning was rooted in confronting its painful past, and in the hope that unity and understanding would light the way forward. Under President Paul Kagame, Rwanda has pursued an ambitious vision of transformation, determined to leave behind the shadows of its tragic past. Kagame's leadership has been marked by a focus on national unity, reconciliation, and a drive to position Rwanda as a model for progress in Africa. The country boasts rapid economic growth, a clean and safe capital, and major advances in health and education. Kigali, once scarred by conflict, now stands as one of Africa's most orderly and innovative cities, drawing praise from visitors and investors alike. Life expectancy has doubled, and nearly all children attend primary school. Access to technology and classrooms is growing, and families are experiencing improved quality of life with better healthcare and social support. Rwanda's ban on plastic bags and focus on technology signal a forward-thinking approach. The country is investing in digital infrastructure and environmental sustainability, aiming to become a regional leader in innovation. Millions have been lifted out of poverty, and national pride is strong. Rural communities are seeing new opportunities, and celebrations of Rwandan identity are more vibrant than ever. Yet this progress comes with questions about political freedom and human rights. The government's tight grip on power has sparked debate both inside and outside Rwanda. Critics point to tight government control and limited space for dissent. Journalists and opposition voices often face restrictions, raising concerns about the cost of stability. The government argues that stability is essential after genocide, even if it means restricting some freedoms. Officials insist that peace and security must come first to prevent a return to violence. This tension between security and democracy shapes Rwanda's ongoing story, as the nation seeks to balance its hard-won peace with aspirations for greater openness. On the world stage, Rwanda is a leader in peacekeeping and African unity. Its soldiers serve in conflict zones across the continent, and its diplomats advocate for cooperation and integration. Its journey inspires but also prompts debate about the cost of rapid progress. Young Rwandans are growing up in a country transformed, yet they too wonder about the future of their freedoms. Rwanda's story is one of hope, resilience, and the enduring struggle to balance unity with freedom. The spirit of reconciliation and the will to move forward remain at the heart of the nation. The lessons of Rwanda echo far beyond its borders, a testament to the power of rebuilding and the vigilance required to protect peace. As Rwanda looks to the future, its experience offers both inspiration and caution for the world.